So yeah, welcome everyone to Code with Sally on Thursday. We run the session every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Last time we covered the if statement, the else if, and the else. Just a quick overview for the syntax. It's usually we have here the if keyword, then between brackets, we put the condition that if it's evaluated to true, between the curly bracket is the code that we run. So between the curly bracket here and here, the code here will be the code that will execute only if condition 1 is true. Else if, and we put another condition. And then again, between the two curly brackets, we have the code that we run if condition 2 is evaluated to true. And then finally, we can have an else, and we open and close the bracket here, the curly bracket, and that's the code that will run if we have like condition 1 and condition 2 are false. So this is the fallback that will execute if any of the conditions or none of them is true. The thing that we said that you must have an if, you cannot have an else without an if. You can have 3, 4, 5 else if needed. It just keep in mind, like you can combine multiple conditions together with an and or if needed, to minimize and to like not repeating the same code over and over again. And the else, it's based on the use case. Sometimes you need a fallback and sometimes you don't. So it depends on the use case you have, whether you need it or not. So that's just a quick overview of like to summarize what we discussed last time. If, else, if, and else, and what's the syntax. Before moving forward, does anyone have a question? Checking the chat. I don't see anyone's faces, so I will assume no. And okay, let's move next. So like as we noticed when we are talking about the conditions or like the if statement, it's a very important portion of it, how to write the condition to evaluate it to true or false. And that's what we were talking about before ending the session last time. We were talking that the conditions are very important and they help us make the decision. And if you remember, we were talking about these flowchart last time, and we saw how we can convert each of these flowcharts like into if and else if statement, and always will have here condition that we need to evaluate to true or false, and whether we go to a yes flow, no flow, but this is the condition that we are talking about. And it's a core part of the conditional statements because based on the condition, if it evaluates to true, we go to the path where we have yes, or if it gets evaluated to false, then we go to the no path. So it's very important to be comfortable and aware how to write the conditions because it's very important in the conditional statements. We talked last time that these conditions usually can include some like expressions. We can have conditions with an equality, and we show that to do an equal, it's not just one equal, it's equal, equal. And we have the not equal, exclamation mark, and equal. And we can have comparisons like less than, greater than, less than or equal, greater than or equal, like what we have in math. And we saw the logical conditions as well, where we have for the and, or for the or, the pipe. Let's see an example to refresh our memory. So I will open here my org. That's the developer org I have. If you have your developer org or a playground, you can open it. You go to the gear here, and we move this, and I will open the developer console. And just a reminder, so far we are using the developer console, but once like we move forward and go to triggers and stuff like that, we'll be using the Visual Studio Code. So I am encouraging everyone to have your Visual Studio Code installed. And if you have any questions or you face any issues, you can send me and I will help with that. Let's see here an example to touch about the end or the condition to have a logical end. So let's say here I will create an integer and I store here student age. Let's say it's 25. And like I'm talking to a student, so I want to differentiate if it's a student or a teacher. So for example, I will have a Boolean to store that it's a student. And I want to check, for example, sometimes when you go to buy tickets, they will ask you your age and if you are a student. And if you are under a certain age, or above certain age and you are a student, you get a discount. So that's what we want to simulate here. So let me write it in English. If we don't want to use a flowchart, we can do that. So I want to check if age, for example, is greater than 18, greater than or equal 18. That's one condition I want to double check. Second condition would be check if the person is student. And those, for example, are conditions to get the discount. Can anyone help me write my condition now? I don't see anyone, so maybe Danny, can you try?
Okay, so in that one is, okay, so if we want to open parentheses, yes.
Okay.
Give me just 1 second. Okay, so it will be if age
Age, yeah,
equals
equals
uh 25,
25, okay.
then a semicolon.
Here we'll open and
Oh,
close the bracket with
brackets,
curly
yes,
to
brackets.
do the logic you want.
Okay,
And
so if
here
it's
I will do system.debug because I'm not giving a real discount, so you can get the discount, right?
correct.
Okay, so let's see. Do you want to add anything or that's it?
I mean, we can continue with the else.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, pretty much if it's not 25, then it cannot get it. So um, if if
like that?
give me 1 second. Oh no, no, 1 second. Oh, I'm sorry. If age will be greater or equals 25.
Okay, it's not 25. Like the ask here, if age
Okay,
is greater or equal 18.
18. Okay, so greater or equals 18.
Okay, sorry, equal 18. So that's one covered now. Covered. The other check we want to do that the person is student. How can we do that? Like here, that means anyone, sorry, here I did 28. So here, if anyone is greater than 18, student or not, they will get the discount.
Okay, so for the next one, we need to use a boolean. So it's pretty much we're gonna do it with a true or false. Um, so I'm sorry, uh, Sally, does it have to meet both of the conditions to get the discount?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so it will be after the 18 would be n.
Okay. It's usually and. That's the logical and here.
Yeah. Um, is a student equals true?
It's a Boolean. We can do is student equal true. And I can remove this equality altogether because that what will happen here. that I will check the value. Here is true. So it's as if I'm saying is true equal true. It will give you true, right? But with Boolean, you can remove the equality here because that means if the age is greater than or equal 18 and the is student is true. So I don't need to do the equality in that case for the Boolean.
Okay.
Okay. So in that case here, what we are doing, let's review. So I have here just a placeholder to put the age and a Boolean for the student, is student true or false? And we wanted to do a check if age is greater than or equal 18 and is student. And that makes me here that this second condition is covered as well. In that case, give me a debug statement that tells me that, okay, I have the student discount. Else, I'm not eligible for the discount. So let's try it. We do open log and we execute here. If I do debug, I get that you can get the student discount because I was able to, those are evaluated both of them to true. Let's say here I had age is student false, for example. What will happen here that this will come when this is evaluated, we'll check is 25 greater than or equal 18? The answer is yes, so this will be true. Then I will check and, that means the second condition needs to be true too. Is student, what's the value for it? Is false. So I will have here true, because this is evaluated to true and false. So the result will be false and I will be taken, or the system.debug, the second one will be printed because no, this code won't be executed because the conditions were false. So let's try this one. If I do debug now, you cannot get the discount. So it went here. Okay, let's get the discount. Okay, any questions for this example? Anyone? Okay, so that's kind of like where we are covering the conditions. Like you can have equality, you can have less than or equal, you can combine conditions with the and the or. So it depends on the situation and what you need to perform. You can decide like equality or not, and or. So it depends on what you want to check for. Another part of the conditions that's very important, I prefer to use brackets when I do like conditions or more complex conditions, and we'll see the reason about that. One thing you can check is the operator precedence. This one is Salesforce documentation. It just explains like the same as what we have in math. Like if we have multiplication and addition, usually the multiplication gets calculated first, then the addition happens. So the same with Salesforce, we have greater precedence. And what we really care about now in this topic for the conditional is the logical and or. Like those take precedence. Like if I have an and, it will happen first, then the or will be checked. Let's see an example to see how that works. Let me open here the developer console. I put this code for you in the chat if anyone wants to test it. And let's see the operator precedence. I will take here a sample of code I have prepared. And I want someone to think how this will be evaluated. And let's put here a note. And first, then the or. Okay, so first we check the and, or the and gets evaluated first, then the or. In that case, I have 3 booleans. I named them condition 1, condition 2, and condition 3, just to make it simple to see and not too complicated with different checks like greater than or equal or boolean values. Like I just simplified them all booleans. I set the first condition to true, second condition variable to true, the third condition variable to false. And I created here an if statement. I'm saying if condition 1 or condition 2 or condition 3, print for me condition is true. Otherwise, I will print condition is false. Can I have a volunteer to tell me what do you think this will evaluate to, or what will be the value?
False.
False. Right? I heard someone said false. I don't see who. Let's
It's
see.
Ryan.
Ryan. So you said false. Okay. So Ryan is saying it will be the false. Danny, do you have any idea or thoughts?
Okay, the way that I understand it is like the condition that needs to make is either condition 1 is true or 2 and 3 are together, right? So it has to, in order to be true, it needs to be like 2 and 3. Is that
So let's take it step by step then. Here we said the end will happen first, right?
correct?
So that means first condition 2 and condition 3 are evaluated, right? So first condition 1 and condition 2. That means I have, what's the value of condition 2? It's true. And condition 3 is
False.
false. So the result of true and false will be false, because
Okay.
one of them is
Yeah.
true and false. True and false will give me false. So that means the part of condition 2 and condition 3 gave me a false value. Okay? Second,
Okay.
we'll go to the or. So that means it will give me condition 1, or I evaluated already condition 2 and condition 3 that it's false, right? So that means I have, what's the value of condition 1? Is true.
True.
So true or false. True or false usually evaluates to
False.
true, because one of them is
Mhm.
true. So true or false, the one of them will be true, then the total of it is true. Darren, you have a question, sorry.
I do, thanks. So on that first line where you have the backslash, one,
Yeah.
how does true and false become false? It seems like there's a logic there that's not stated out loud that's to be learned.
Yes, that's how the logical and logical or works. Like if you have true and false, like in order using the and, for the and to give you a true, both sides will needs to be true. So with the
Okay.
and, you have to have true and true to give you true. If you have true and false, it will give you false. That's how the
So if
end.
you had, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If you have red and blue, then the answer would be blue.
No, here we are talking
No.
about booleans. So booleans will always
Okay,
be
it's
true or
true and
false.
false.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay. So
All right.
and
Thank you.
and condition 1 can actually be like in the background in real life scenario can be 3 greater than 2, for example. And condition 2 could be in real life is student equal true. And condition 3 in real life can be, for example, day name equal Monday. Like in general, like it won't be a Boolean, but it can be a condition, like the ones that we covered last session. Age, if you remember, we were checking the day name, if it's Thursday, if it's Saturday, if the age, like what we just did, greater than 18, if it's student or not. Like at the end, in real life scenario, each condition can be like a bigger expression. I'm just showing you how the brackets can make a difference, especially when we are using or combining conditions together with an or and an and. Is it clearer now? There, okay.
Yeah, thank you, Sal. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. So here, just for simplicity, for the sake of showing you how the brackets make a difference, I'm just having the conditions like 1, 2, 3, and I set one for true, the second one true, and the third one for false. But like in real life, they can be more complex than that. Like it's not just Booleans. But what I want you to see that we said in or operator precedence, the and come first, then the or. So how that will make a difference when we are using brackets. So such condition here, what we have, I have the and or in the condition. So the and part will be evaluated first. And here the and will be true and false. And true and false can be coming from those, like if this one, for example, is student equal true, but evaluated to false, like the student itself is false, so it evaluated to false. But like, regardless of the condition, this condition too is evaluated on itself as false, true, sorry, this is 1 and is true and 3 is false. What will happen here that will come to the end and we'll check. This is got evaluated to true, and this one got evaluated to false. So I have true and false. That will give me false. That's how the logical and to give you a true, both sides needs to be true. But here, because we have one of them false, so both of them or this condition altogether got evaluated to false. Then, because we said the second step will be the or, so we have condition 1 or false, because that's already done, or we thought about it and we found it false. So it's true or false. And with the or logical, if you have only one side true, it will be always true. So that will evaluate to true at the end. So that's why if I run this now, we'll see that we have condition is true printed. Let's see it together. Condition is true is printed because I had condition 1 as true and I don't have any brackets or anything, okay? Let's see if I write it in a different way, what we'll have. So case 2, for example, here. I added, if you see the difference, let me make this bigger. I have here the difference between what I have here and what I have here. It's exactly the same. All I did was to put a bracket here before the condition 1 and at the end of condition 2. So I'm putting a bracket between the or. Okay. So in that case, can someone tell me how it will be evaluated? First one, what will be evaluated first? Like if you go to the operator, we said we care about the and or. The and come first, then the or. But at the top, you'll see that the first of everything is the grouping, which is the brackets. So if I come here, what will happen first is note here, bracket first, then and, then or, okay? So what will happen first is that because I have a bracket, instead of evaluating the and first, whatever is between the bracket will get evaluated first alone. So that will be my first, the first thing to happen or to be checked. condition 1 or condition 2, which will be, what's the value of condition 1? True. So it will be true, or condition 2 is true as well. So true or true will give me true. And the second step, like the second step, we have the end. And you notice the or is the last, but because here those are between the brackets, they got evaluated first, like whatever between the brackets got evaluated first, alone, standalone. Now what we'll have is that we'll have true and condition 3, which will be true and false. Condition 3 is false. The result would be in that case what? True and false will give me
False.
false. So in that case, with the bracket, it's the same conditions. It's not complicated, like I didn't put any strong logic, it's just 3 booleans, but we are just playing with the brackets. If I print it now, I will see here, let's put this one, case 2. Case 2. And here, let's add case 1. So we can see the difference in the printing. In case 1, I will see that the whole expression now got evaluated to true. So this one will run and will be printed true. In this condition or this case, because I just added the bracket between the or, the whole expression will be evaluated to false. And what will be printed in this time is the false. So let's execute it now and see. So in case 1 is the true. Case 2, we printed the false. So condition 1, condition 2, condition 3 may not make sense to you because it's not like a real life scenario or it's not real conditions. But the whole point I'm trying to show you that a bracket can make a difference and that the and is usually get executed or evaluated first before the or. So it's very critical when you write your conditions and working with the if statements. If you have ands and ors, you have to be very careful and mindful. What do you want it to behave, the way you want it to behave? Do you want the ors to be evaluated first and then do the conditions? So it's like I'm saying, if one of those are true and 3, or the here condition 1 or those two together and the result for them, like it's a big difference, like how it will be evaluated and the result may be different. So you have to always think when you are combining expressions together, what's the behavior or how you want it to behave, so you can put the brackets carefully, because if you don't put a bracket, it will behave different than if you put them. And if you put the brackets in, for example, if I didn't have it here and I had it around the condition 2 and condition 3, for example, here, so it would behave the same way as we have without the brackets in that case. So it's very important to think about it. Did I confuse you all, or it's a bit clear? Okay. Darren, Danny, Ryan. Okay, good. So let me.
I'm good. I'm good. I got in this the second time around. I understood.
Okay, let me put this in the chat. So again, it's just something for you to know that we have in Salesforce operators. There is a lot here, operators that we are not using, and I don't want to confuse you. The 3 that you need to check or to be aware of, brackets take first priority, then the and, then the or. So you have to make sure when you write your conditions, use the brackets in the right way you want it to behave, because whatever you put in the bracket will be evaluated first alone. So that's one thing. Okay, so did anyone get the chance to try and do the this flowchart converted to an if and else statement? Or no? We said that this is kind of small homework for last time. Don't see anyone.
No.
I think no, right? Okay. So let's try it quickly together because I will use it to explain the next topic. So here, okay, yeah, take your time. I will just, because I want to show a good thing after that, so I will have to do it. So what we want to do here, I want to simulate that I will input a number. So I will do a variable of type integer, and I call it number value, and I will put here a number, for example, 8. And what I want to check if the number mod2 is 0. If yes, that I will print its even number. If not, I'll print an odd number. So it's an if else situation because I have only one condition. And if yes, I will do something and I need to know because the else, I will do something else. So here, if I do if for the mod, that's something we didn't discover, like cover together, but it's like a math operator. So we do math dot mod. And I put here the number value and 2. And if you want to read more about it, again, here you do math.mod apex methods. So it's inside the math class. It's the same way like what we had with the primitive data types methods. That's another class. It's called math. It has some math operations that it can do for us. So the mod is one of them. So I do number and 2 because it takes integer value 1, integer value 2. So I want to do the mod for 2, for my number by 2. And this one will return an integer. And that's what I will double check. If it's 0 equal 0, that means it will be even. That's what we have here. If the number mod 2 is 0, even number. So that's what I will do here. System.debug even number. And then I want the other branch, the no. So in that case, it will be an else because I don't want to do another check. It's just if it's not mod 0, then it's an odd number. So system.debug odd number. And let's print execute it and see. So I had 8 as my number. So I will see here even number. If I will try here, for example, 11, an odd number, and execute. So it gives me an odd number. So that means it's working as expected, that we have a, in case if it's even, it shows even. In case of odd, it printed odd. So that's the first flow chart we had in our slides in the first session, talking about how you can think about a problem by drawing or writing if it's pseudocode. So here I wanted to use the same example and show you that we can move what we saw in the first slide and how we thought about it as a flow chart to be a conditional statement. Any questions about that before moving? I don't have questions in the chat, so I think we are good. Let's move to the next. So the next slide will be talking about ternary operator. And I will paste here this one. This is my blog. I have a blog about just the ternary operator and another blog talking about the statement, if statement, switch in the ternary as a brief. feel free to check it, like to see if it's something that would be interesting for you or not. The ternary operator in Salesforce is a shorter form of an if and else statement. Like here, like I have a brief description about it. So it's an if-else statement written in a shorter and easier way to read. And it only works with an if and else statement. And the syntax in general for it, like if you have, for example, here, the if statement syntax, let's see, let me do that. We said that the if statement is if keyword, then condition, and then we open curly bracket and close the bracket. And here we put the code we want to run if condition is true. And else code we want to run if condition is false. That's how we did the if and else statement, and that's the generic syntax for it. So the ternary is in one line, and what the syntax for it is that we have the condition, then question mark, then we put the expression that we want to execute or return if it's true, and colon, the expression if it's false. And we'll see that in action now, like to see how we can do it with an example. So let's remove all of that. I have this example ready for you. It's for an if and else statement that I want based on your age. Here I would put age 20, for example, and past name, it's empty. And I will print here system dot debug and past name, and I put here the past name. So what this actually doing is that based on your age, if you are older than 18, I'll give you an adult pass. Otherwise, it's a kid's pass. So I want, in other words, like what I wanted to do is that I want to retrieve which past name you deserve or I need to give you. And that will be evaluated based on your age. So if you are older than 18, I give you an adult pass. If not, then it's a kid's pass. And I printed here. Here we have an example with 20. So let's execute it and see. It printed for me that the pass name that I need to give you would be the adult's pass. If I try here to enter a 5, for example, and execute it again, it will come, is 5 greater than 18? No, so this one, nothing will happen. It's evaluated to false. Then it will go to the else, and it will return that the pass name is kid's pass. So let's see here. And here it showed to me that it's kid's pass. Okay, so the ternary operator is very useful in such cases, like when you have in the if, like the code for it, it just, you are assigning a single value. It's not like I'm sending email or writing a lot of line of codes or complex logic. It just, I want base to get a single value based on a certain condition. So the ternary operator, the syntax for it, we said it's condition, and then question mark, true expression, and or colon, false expression. Let's see how we can write this. So what I would do here is that I have string pass name 2, enhanced, for example, for the ternary, or pass name ternary. And what I would do, first, I want a condition. So my condition here is to check for the age. So I would take here, I will open a bracket and close it. I will say age value greater than 18. Is the age value greater than 18? So, and question mark. So here, all I did was the condition, question mark. Now is the true expression. What do I want to set the pass name with if it's greater than 18? It's the adult pass. So the true expression is that I want to return adult pass. Colon, and then I want to do the false expression. The false expression means like, what do you want to set or what do you want to return in case the condition was wrong or false? In that case, it's the kid's pass. And then semicolon. So that here, single line, is doing for me all what I did here in those lines. So let's print it and see it and then go through it again. So here I will do system.debug and I do ternary pass name and I will show the value. And let's compare the output between the two. Here the age is 5, so I'm expecting to see kids pass. Let's execute it. So I got kids pass in ternary operator too. Let's see it in action. If I have here 25, it's greater than 18. So I'm expecting adults pass in both. I will execute now. And if I see here, I have adults pass and adults pass for the ternary as well. So what happens again? Just to recap, here we said for the if, what will happen that we'll check is 25 greater than 18? Yes, so it will be evaluated to true. So the code within the brackets here will be executed, which is setting the pass name value to be adults pass. And in that case, the else will be ignored because the condition is true and we already executed the logic here. The same with the ternary. What will happen is that we come here, the age is 25. So we check, is the age greater than 18? Which is 25 greater than 18? The answer is yes. So we return the value in the true expression, which is the adult pass. And we ignore whatever we have here after the colon because that's the false expression. It's the similar, like whatever you had in the else is whatever we have after the colon here. So that's how the ternary operator work. It just cleaner in such simple scenarios, because sometimes you will have like, I want to set, for example, a lot of times in real life, what we want to do, if, for example, if name value is empty, set default value to NA, for example. Or not name, for example, if course name value is empty, set default value to math, for example. If someone didn't choose a course in the university, they will take math. So in that case, for example, what we can do is string selected course, for example, here. What it can do, I can check here. We have in the string operators, something called string is not blank, I believe. Let's see. String methods, apex. Is not blank. So I will go and use it. So I would do here, if string is not blank, for example, here I had string course name. If the string is not blank, that means it's it has a value. Then in that case, I want to return that course name. Otherwise, I would return math. And let's print it. System.bug. And I print the selected course name. So the course name that in real life may be coming from a record, from an object record based on the student name. And I want to see if they selected a course, then return the course name that they selected, otherwise return math. So let's see printed here. So I returned math because they didn't select the course. Here, for example, if they had art, what will happen here, that string is not blank, will be true because I have art, it's not a blank string. Then I would return the course name. I would set select a course with the course name, which would be art. So let's print it here. And I will do the bug. In that case, it returned art. So in general, that's how it's used in most cases. Like when you have a very simple scenario, when you have it very simple, like you want to set a value, if it's not empty, set it to the value coming from the object, or otherwise set it to false. So it's usually a simple selection of value. It's not a complex, like we won't use it if we have complex code within the if statement or the else statement. Any questions? Is it clear?
For me.
Okay.
Yes.
Darren, Ryan,
Yes, thank you.
you're all okay. All right, are you good?
I'm good.
Okay, good. Okay, so that's the ternary. So as I said, like it's very good and it's very optimal to use it when you have a very simple scenarios, not complex. And it's always happening with an if and else. If you have if, else if, some people would tell you, okay, yeah, we can like keep adding in the false expression another ternary operators and keep adding like the checks, but that's very confusing and it won't be easy to read. Like I put here an example that I have in the blog, but I won't go through it because it's very confusing. Like that's how, for example, someone can keep adding an ternary operator over ternary operator, like keep nesting them. It will be super long. And if you tell me now without like thinking and taking my time to read it, it would be very hard for me to figure out what was the logic or what we wanted to do. So we don't do that. It's usually if you have a very simple if else statement and just for setting a value, that's when you go and use it. Also, the other thing, you notice that I put a bracket here. And that's because sometimes you may have age value and a student, for example. The first example we started with at the beginning, you could have an and or an or here as well. You need to keep it simple. So if that's the case, I like to put a bracket. It will work without the bracket, but it just makes me see the start and the end of my condition. I feel it's more readable for me, more than just having suddenly age value greater than 18 and a student. Like it's harder for me to read without the bracket. For the bracket, at least I know, okay, yeah, this is the condition regardless whatever it's here, and this is the true and this is the false. So it makes it easier to read, especially we have it all in one line. So it's preferably to use the brackets. The other thing that you may need to do, I will leave it to you to do it. We saw how we did the mod to and how we showed even and odd. I want you, let me put this in the chat as well. I want you to think how we can use the ternary operator instead of if and else statement to do this check, that if you have a number and you want to return even or odd, like what would you do with the ternary operator? So think about that and try to do it. It should be not too hard, hopefully. And next time, we will go through the next or the last conditional statement we have in Salesforce, which is the switch statement. And I will try to post for you some exercise to do. This one should be okay. The first one, this is covered with whatever we did so far. And the second one is good too. Oops, sorry. And the ternary operator, that's something else you can do. And this one. Yeah, so those as well, you can try to work on them. If you have questions during the week, let me know. Next time, we'll start with the switch statement. I won't go through the ternary for the mod or for the even and odd number at the beginning. I will leave it to the end of the session, but we'll start with the switch and then check the ternary operator and get in touch with the homework if you were able to do. Like, it's not a homework, like it's more for you to practice, because I feel usually it's easier to understand when you do hands-on more than just like listening or reading. So try to do it. If you have questions, give it a go and we'll go through it next time. So if anyone wants to drop, go ahead. If anyone has a question, I'm here for you. And thank you so much for joining me today.
I don't have a question, but thank you, Sally. I really appreciate it. It's definitely like 2 points that I haven't seen it. I understood them today. So I'm pretty happy with that. Thank you.
That's great. That's great. I was worried if I confused people more than being helpful, but if anyone, like, you take it offline and you feel like you're confused or you want me to repeat it next time with more example or more real life scenario, I'm happy to do that as well. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Sally.
You're welcome. Thank you.